in all this.
Good evening everyone, it's Nick here, and I'm quite excited this evening because I'm doing a review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. It is now, it's Wednesday today? So yes, yesterday we went and watched it, and my god, it is absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited about this. Rian Johnson, he came out of nowhere. He's only directed a couple of movies beforehand, one of them being Looper with Bruce Willis, that sort of sci-fi wibbly-wobbly thing, and yeah, he managed to pull off something that I wasn't sure he was going to be able to. This is a massive, massive universe with billions and billions of dollars. Yet Disney seemed to have confidence in him. I don't know how he convinced them. In fact, they had so much confidence in him, but before the movie even screened to critics and fans alike, they managed to give him 3 other movies inside the Star Wars universe. So he's going to be doing 3 other movies right now. He's not doing the next one, obviously, and J.J. Abrams will be picking up the mantle again. He did, of course, The Force Awakens. So what is good about this movie? So let's just focus on what Reay managed to do. Now, he also wrote this movie, and not just writing the movie, but filming the movie, and as you know, everything came together, people said that he just ran everything really, really well. Now, if you look at movies like Suicide Squad and Justice League, Batman vs Superman, other movies like Fantastic Four, if you have interfering people, you know, busybody meddlers from the studio or executives or suits, as I like to derogatorily refer to them, interfering with the project, it can lead to a whole bunch of problems. It didn't happen in this, apparently. He ran everything smoothly. There were a few gripes from people like Mark Hamill and other older characters or older actors, because they weren't entirely sure with the direction. They weren't particularly happy with the direction that the story was taking. I would really like to see what George Lucas had written all those years ago, up to movie 12 or 13, and what we have now, and to see why they weren't particularly happy. I really would like to see that. Maybe down the line, once all of these are behind us, we will get some sort of privy to see them. But Rian does a very good job of this. He makes it far more adult than I think any Star Wars has been. He makes the characters three-dimensional as opposed to just being light, dark, and not much of the in-between over there. And yeah, it's not edgy. I'm really glad to say it's not one of these edgy things, okay, that a lot of people are sort of heading towards now. It is a little bit darker, but at the same time, it has a far more comedy than any of the others have too, which I was very surprised about. I mean, the way that the Force Awakens finished, it was pretty heavy stuff going on there. And to be able to jump between heavy stuff, because a lot of really heavy stuff happens in this, and those lighter moments that make you sort of go, I can breathe a sigh of relief now, is really masterfully handled. It didn't feel too shoehorned in there. It's part one thing, but I'll get to that at the end. So yes, I think he did a very, very good job with all of the actors too. We'll get to the actors just in a moment. But yes, I think I'm very surprised. I'm really, really, truly surprised with this, that he managed to pull off something that I think, I mean, the estimates right now are on the opening weekend $440 million. To me, that's mind-blowing. I mean, I think Justice League has only just hit the 600 million mark, and that's over almost 2 months now that it's been open. So yes, Disney is in store for another oh boy moment over there as far as money that's going to come in. So yes, as I say, that's Rian Johnson. So the actors over here, thank God, Adam Driver manages to get a far juicier role. We're talking about Kylo Ren here. Because in the last movie, Force Awakens, a lot of people complained he was far too emo. So he was like, oh, cry, tantrum. And in this, they really make him quite a menacing bastard. Quite frankly, I think he's far more menacing than Darth Vader was ever. But yeah, he does a very good job with it. I'm really happy to see Adam Driver fitting far more into the role than he was beforehand. Another actor who's doing this is, of course, Daisy Ridley. She's really, really playing the role of Reay superbly in this. She gets some beautiful moments. She's far more serious, I would say, in this than the last one. And also, she doesn't really get as many comedy moments. She gets a couple. Everyone gets a couple. Oh, par 1 or 2 people, but there's reasons for that. But yeah, she doesn't get that many. So she's treated a lot more like a person who has everything on the line and she's desperate, you know. I'm really worried that people are going to say that she's one of these, what is it, Mary Sue? She could do anything kind of story. No, she is a real life, you know, real person. She feels like a real person anyway. The actress does a damn good job of that. Other people to mention, of course, is Mark Hamill. Really lovely to see him back in the role as Luke Skywalker. We only saw very brief moments, of course, at the end of Force Awakens. He's really quite funny in this as well. He's got some fantastic moments, much like Obi-Wan Kenobi, I suppose, had. But he is a lot darker, and you can see he's not the Luke Skywalker that we used to know. I mean, he's been through a lot. You find out what he's been through, which I think we really needed to see as well. And I think that works very, very well. So he's a real shaggy kind of hobo in this, I suppose, as opposed to his young, youthful, sprightly self. And he pulls it off with much success, I would suppose. Sorry, had to have a sip. So as I was saying, Mark Hamill does a damn good job of this. Luke Skywalker is awesome, which of course inevitably will lead to Carrie Fisher. Man, it was hectic seeing her on the screen again. Of course, she passed away this year, and it was even worse because she did such a damn good job as Princess Leia in this. She really embraced it, and she comes across as almost regal in the role that she's playing. Of course, this time she is a general. We picked up on this in the last movie, and damn, she does a good job. She has some very, very cool, funny moments as well, which, as I said earlier, a lot of the characters do have, but not that many lines. She doesn't really need that many lines. She just sort of looks at you or looks at the characters, and they jump into line, or they fight with her, and she just carries on looking, and they kind of, okay, and they go off. So seeing her was fantastic. It was bittersweet. Great homage, I think, to her. I really, really do think so too. And I think everyone's going to think that I can't fault anything that she does in this. Her character's roles too is fantastic. Her actions are great. There's far more focus in this movie on the sort of rebels fighting, and you're seeing the whole thing at the same time. So I'm not going to, like I said, I don't want to go into too much details here. I know that every other movie has got the rebels fighting, but in this one, it's literally the backdrop to the entire thing, which I really liked. It's very different to the other Star Wars. So, yeah, the actors are great. Another person I want to point out is Andy Serkis playing Supreme Leader Snoke. Only Andy Serkis can pull off something like that. He can be an ape, he can be Hodam, and of course he can be Snoke. The CGI is phenomenal. I don't know if they're going to... I suppose I haven't got time to upgrade it work on it since we saw it yesterday. It comes out in 2 days. But they don't really have to at all. It's really beautifully done. And we watched it at a terrible cinema, where some of the characters' heads get cut off because the screen is not properly formatted. So I'm going to go watch this again at IMAX. You have to watch this at IMAX or a big screen that is sharp, because the CGI-ness is going to blow you away. I thought I'd seen everything with, Thor, for example. No. You have seen nothing yet until this. I mean, every Star Wars, of course, has the obligatory sky battle and stuff. This is just on a different level. I don't know how this Rian guy did this as a new, beginner, if you want to call it that. George Lucas, sixth movie or fifth movie or fourth movie. Nah, we don't talk about those. But he does such a good job in choreographing, obviously in conjunction with other people, these battle scenes, which are exciting. And yeah, they are really, really gripping. And that, of course, is Star Wars. Star Wars always has to be gripping, and it certainly does that very well. So those are the great things about this, and there's a couple of minutes, I'm hoping. Let's go on to the things that I think didn't work very well. I think as far as the narrative and plot, which I'm not going to go into, don't worry, you have to turn off. I think some Star Wars fans, like Kervin, might be a bit frustrated on treatment on certain things in this. I have no clue about them, so I was very happy with them. So I think, like I said, the casual market are like, I love that! They're not going to, because they won't know any different. So I think some things in this maybe, super fans like Kervin had not had an issue with, but he did mention, I'm sure he'll mention it in his article that is out today. But yeah, like I say, if you're a casual, you're not going to have a problem. So that was one thing that I think only super hot fans will notice. Other thing, as far as critics I think would notice, is the very Star Warsy sort of build up and pacing and stuff. And it's it's very, very similar to, I'll say all of them, but that's because it's Star Wars. I think it has to be done. Elements of, oh my god, and some of the dialogue is kind of, cheesy, but like I say, that's just a Star Wars thing. You can't have a heavy Batman, directed by Christopher Nolan kind of thing going on here. You can't have that. One of the biggest gripes I had, that I think any director, just going away from, moving further away from the Star Wars universe, if you're completely out of the Star Wars universe, is one of the plot lines, which I'm not going to go into, don't worry, doesn't really have anything to do. I mean, in most video games, if you have a side mission, it's usually to get a better weapon or to help somebody who then helps you down the line, blah, 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 blah. But one of these things, it's running alongside, and although it looks fantastic, don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of drama in it too, and there's some great cameos and stuff, it just feels like it wasn't really necessary. I would have liked to focus a bit more on the main story to sort of get more behind characters, which like I said, they did certainly give a lot of character introspection and making them 3D. But yeah, I just felt it was a little bit unnecessary because it was such a big thing. I was like, So yeah, that was one. I'm not, like I said, you also, when you watch the movie, maybe you won't even pick it up. I don't know. But Kevin and I did mention it. A few other slight continuity things too, but I think that's probably because the movie is such a large movie, and you have so many elements happening in here that you want to just keep going with what worked at the beginning, but maybe not works halfway through or towards the end or whatever. But yeah, so I picked up a few things like that too, which doesn't ruin the enjoyment of the movie. Don't get me wrong there whatsoever. To me it's absolutely brilliant. To me, it's actually the best Star Wars movie that's been made. That's quite a big thing after Empire Strikes Back. It supersedes it on all the levels, as far as I'm concerned. But that's because I'm not a hectic Star Wars fan. I keep pushing that point because I think you need to know that point. Kervin is, I'm the casual observer, which I'm sure a lot of people are out there, but for the major fans, like I say, Kervin. So as far as ratings, I'm going to give this an 8.5. I loved it. This year, 2017, has had so many damn good movies, from Planet of the Apes, Rise for War for Planet of the Apes, to Blade Runner, to the enjoyment of light things like Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Thor. It's been unbelievable this year. And then to end it with Star Wars, my word, these guys are looking at a lot of money. I was looking at some projections earlier today. They reckon they're going to put in 440 million in the debut weekend. That is a lot of bang for their buck. I mean, I know Disney spent $5 billion buying the rights for the Star Wars movies, and they've really raked in more than half of that with Rogue One and Force Awakens and merchandise. Oh yes, that was another thing. Sorry, I wanted to mention one more gripe before I roll this up, and it's a gripe and a good thing. It's this bloody little thing called porgs. It's like a hamster with wings, I suppose you could call it that. Like a hamster with a big mouth with wings. And they are dreadfully cute. And I say dreadfully because if you've got kids, they're going to want one, okay? So you better start getting your arms ready to fight all the dads and the mothers out there, all right? And it kind of felt shoehorned in. They are absolutely hysterical. At least the things that they lead to, or people around them that interact with them, is absolutely brilliantly done. Very, very funny. I think much needed light-hearted moments because it's quite a dramatic movie, this. But it does feel almost like a marketing team was like, throw these guys in here, because we're going to make billions of them, and they are going to make billions of them. So maybe I'm just being really cynical, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. But yes, these little things, very cute, very, very good humorous moments and comedy moments, but the movie could have done without them completely, and I don't think any other movie has done that. I mean, certainly Jar Jar Binks didn't make kids want their parents to go and buy the bloody little figures. I do seem to remember my brothers having them. Maybe they were naughty and Santa bought them that instead of coal. I'd rather get coal. Anyway, 8.5, and please go and watch this on the big screen. As I said, it's very, very visually stimulating, and we'll see how much money this is going to bring in. Have a great New Year and Christmas if I don't see you guys before then. And like I said, let us know in Kervin's review what you think, and if you guys have any comments as well, drop them in the box below. See you guys very soon. Happy New Year, Happy Christmas if you celebrate it, and all those other happy things. Later.